Hi, I am Mr. Woodruff, personal finance teacher at Little Miami High School, and you are listening to the Woodhenge podcast.
Welcome to episode 10 of the Woodhenge podcast. I'm Mr. DeSanctis.
And I'm Miss Frederick.
Thanks for sticking with us as we get to double digits.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, I know. When it started in August, I think we were kind of said, we'll just see what happens, see where it goes.
You sent me an email just as a reminder because you had emailed me like 3 weeks before school started. I never responded. The day before, you were like, hey, can you respond? And I was like, oh, yeah, sure. This sounds like fun.
Well, looking at the master schedule, I was like, hey, who has the same plan bell as me? Because like we talked about last week, even with Edie, of this actually started as a way to incorporate into the curriculum and kind of have a baseline. But then at the same time, I was like, I don't know, maybe it could be kind of fun. Try it. People are doing it. What's the worst that happens? We don't like it. And then I have stuff for content. But I don't know. I think it's been kind of what we talked about.
Yeah. I mean, we've been learning about all different kinds of students and teachers. And I mean, I feel like I've gotten to know more about our school than I have, and I went here. I know that sounds crazy, but times have changed, and just meeting the new students and even the quote unquote old students, right? The seniors and stuff. Oh God, it's just 10 episodes of really rich content with Little Miami people.
And it started with Harleman and then Sanders, and then from there we just kind of evolved. Mason stood things on their head. I was looking at the list this morning as we were planning out for today's, and so I found the stat that I emailed over to you. Something like most podcasts don't make it past 10 episodes. Only 25% or something make it to 10 or past 10. I guess because either you don't have 1 million followers, so you give up on it, which I don't think we ever really had to worry about in the first place. Or I don't know, either you get bored of it or whatnot. But I don't know. It's been a nice break every week to kind of step back from grading stuff and chat with somebody and learn about something. I mean, whether it was Jasmina or that was a fun one. And Mackenzie Evans and Kyle.
Kenzie.
And to think we just finished the first quarter of school. So I mean, we still have a lot of stuff to uncover. We've had some awesome people have reached out and kind of suggested some folks that they think may be good. I feel like kind of got to get Mr. Robinson on here at some point, but I don't know how. We're gonna have to do it on a Saturday. Yeah, because it's gonna take 8 hours for to unpack all the stories and everything that he's gonna have. And Mr. Carter and I end up chatting most days anyway for an hour after school. So we bring him on. It's gonna be another weekend adventure. So we kind of got to navigate that.
Yeah, for sure.
Appreciate everybody listening. Appreciate you joining us on this adventure as we build content, spread the good word about things that are happening. Today, we have somebody kind of cool, somebody who's been around, done a bunch of different things. Mr. Casey Woodruff is going to join us here in a couple minutes. Pretty excited about that. We are recording this on Friday, which is the day he was duct taped to the wall in the cafeteria. Poor guy. He had to step in for Harleman. So, we'll ask him about that. We'll talk to him about his love for personal finance, because if you've talked to him, that is his
baby.
Jam.
It's his thing.
He absolutely loves it. I've been fortunate enough to have both of his daughters in class in my short time here. You had them both too?
Yeah, they're amazing.
Jordan and Taylor. I have Jordan now. I had Taylor my first year.
Yeah, same.
That was kind of how I initially built my relationship with Casey, and then got talking to Steph too. So fun. Between baseball and duct tape, personal finance, we have plenty to talk about. So should we get going double digits?
Let's get it.
Here's episode 10 with Mr. Casey Woodruff. Welcome back for episode 10 of the Woodhenge podcast. I'm Mr. DeSanctis.
And I'm Miss Frederick.
And we have the distinct honor of being joined by, I think, the best personal finance teacher in the business, at least the best one in the building, that's for sure.
That is for sure.
Mr. Casey Woodruff, welcome to the pod.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
You just got done getting duct taped to the wall. So thanks for toughing it out here. How was that?
It was fantastic. Adrian and Chad made it seem like it was going to be terrible, and it wasn't that bad, but I had to pinch hit for Kevin, and it was great.
All the baseball puns. All the baseball puns. So, I mean, we're reaching the end of October here. We're past the first quarter. How has your school year been?
It's been busy. It's been great. This is the last year, I think, that I'll be doing personal finance only part of the day. Next year, it becomes a requirement for this year's sophomores. And moving forward, every junior will take personal finance. So I'm excited to be able to do that full time and pass the baton for work-based learning and internship to somebody else.
Nice.
So the personal finance has been like your thing since I met you. Like that's your jam. You are always down to talk about it.
Yep.
With all those planned periods, it helps. People can just come visit you and get advice. Thanks to Colonel for calling you out on that a couple years ago, and it stuck. But how did you get into teaching personal finance? I mean, it's obviously it's growing with importance, but you started somewhere with it.
Yeah. So when I was in high school, I always wanted to be a teacher. My dad was a teacher. My uncle was a teacher. But I also liked money. And so
I'm sensing a problem here.
My dad advised me not to go that route. So I went to UC and started off as an accountant and quickly realized that was very boring and switched my major to finance. So my actual undergrad degree is in finance and management from University of Cincinnati.
Nice.
And so I've just always had a passion about finance. And when I did decide to become a teacher, after my failed career as an accountant, couldn't stand it, so I moved on. It was a great opportunity to finally bring that to Little Miami. I started off here as the internship coordinator, and then I kind of over the years asked them if we could add it. It started off with one section, and now we're up to 3, and then next year it'll be hopefully 6 periods a day, full time, because everybody will be taking it.
Wow. I mean, it's so important. I think about any time that I ever have to talk about money ever in my life, and I'm like, I don't know what I'm doing. But it's good to know someone in our corner and stuff, and that the kids are going to get that help too. So that's excellent.
And if you ask my wife, I know personal finance, but I still get a case of the wants, and I'm the free spender, and she's more of the budget person, and
I feel like
keeps me on track.
So between a math teacher and a personal finance teacher, like that budget best be like down to the penny.
It is. She likes to handle the budget. If you've met her, she's
a little particular.
I mean, she's a little type A, and I'm okay with that, and let her run with that.
So what is it like to teach in the same building as your wife?
I love it personally. I think it's just the fact that we have the same days off, same breaks, everything is great. And being a teacher, you don't get to really socialize with your peers very often because they're teaching as well. And so it's not like we see each other all day long. We do tend to eat lunch together, but other than that, I don't really see her because she's busy, and I'm usually covering her class.
Or teaching personal finance, or checking up on internships and jobs and all that fun stuff. But you even had another foray not in teaching, because you were here and then you weren't here and now you're here again.
Yes. So, go back to my first career as an accountant. I worked for a company called General Cable. It's a Fortune 500 company. Did that for 2 years and realized that it just was not for me. Even though I realized that in college and switched my major to finance, when I graduated, they offered me the most money, and I stuck with it. So I quit that and actually started a landscaping company and did that for 2 years. And then I met my wife and decided I needed a career that had insurance and all of that fun stuff. So I sold my half of the company to my business partner, and that company is still out there, I believe, the last time I checked. And then I started teaching at an alternative school in Claremont County. Did that for a year, and then I came to Little Miami in 2004 as a special ed teacher at the junior high. And then 2005 moved up to the high school and was here until 2012, 13. And then I left and went to the University of Cincinnati and worked for the Economics Center, running programs, the stock market game, teaching teachers how to teach personal finance. We did an economics class over the summer for high school students that could earn college credit. It was kind of an economics in action. We did tours of Kings Island, Luxottica, a bunch of different businesses to see behind the scenes stuff of how economics actually impacted their decision making. So really cool. And then started a gym in 2014 and had that until 2019 when I sold it. But I came back to Little Miami in 2015, I believe. And so been back and loving what I do now.
Love that.
Been here ever since. You were actually one of the first people that I met when I started working here in 2019, because there was a heck of a lunch crowd.
Yeah.
That year, and Steve Abril, who I actually hung out with last week, I saw him. It was like you, me, Abril, Hammond was in there, Colonel Peterson, and that was kind of a nice way to
remember that.
Yeah, you and Apati stopped by a couple times. That was kind of like a nice little foray into the culture and the community here. I remember a lot of very good laughs around that lunch table. Most of them started with Peterson and some of his jokes, and it just kind of
never ending.
Just he just has a database that he just continues to pull from.
And it's tough because when he goes to tell you something, you're bracing yourself. Is he serious?
Is it real
or is he going into a dad joke?
Yeah, you can just
99% of the time it's a dad joke.
And he starts the dad jokes off so serious too. Yes. And and then I just stare confused, and I don't get the joke at first, and then he's like, hey, and I'm like, oh.
Yeah, I keep a book of dad jokes in my desk that I have called a classroom management strategy at different points. Because if you don't know, if you just stand up in front of your room and start rattling them off, the kids can hear you.
Yeah. And
they will stop so that you stop.
Oh.
Yeah, I figured that one out.
Wow.
Don't need a master's degree for that.
No.
I did it last year, I believe, but I haven't had to do it much this year. I used to do a call and response to get their attention. So I go, Red Robin, and then they go, yum. And that's what I did. And they would laugh, and then we'd get off track, and I'd be like, oh, never mind.
I feel like the We Are Farmers works with that too.
Good. That's all the businesses, right? Oh my goodness. Wow.
Learning some new strategies right now.
Yeah, right.
And you've been doing it longer than both of us combined.
Oh my God.
So you also picked up something new in addition to everything else that you're doing, which somehow you had time to start coaching baseball.
Yeah.
Which I thought was cool when we did the segment for the Panther Show, and you and I kind of chatted offline about it last year I didn't know that you were a baseball guy.
Yeah.
You played down in Texas and stuff.
I played a year of junior college baseball in Texas. I always thought that baseball was going to be my route to fame.
And who knew it was personal finance all along?
Yeah. When you're a high school player, it's tough because you think you know what it takes to be super successful. And then you go meet people who are super successful at that sport and realize that it's a lot harder than you anticipated. And so I did have the opportunity to go to Texas and play a year. And then things just didn't work out. Injured my arm, came back, transferred to UC, had the opportunity to try out there and chickened out because it was one of those tough things. I was like, man, I've never been cut from anything in my life. What if I don't make it? And so I just didn't even try. And
my goodness. But now you're back in the saddle.
Now I'm back coaching. So I coached here in 2000, started 2003, 2004 coaching here. Did that until 2007, 8, somewhere around there. Right around the time we went into fiscal emergency and pay to play went to 651, and I had 2 daughters. And I'm like, that's a good time to step away. Stepped away, and now my oldest graduated last year, and so it was kind of a good time to step back into it if I was ever going to get back into it when Coach Craig retired. So kind of good timing.
Mm-hmm.
How has it been getting back in that saddle after all those years?
It has changed quite a bit. That was going to be my next question. The new technology that's available, and it seems like every player has personal trainers and hitting coaches and pitching coaches and all of the extra stuff that they have available. The rise in fall ball and how many players play summer ball and travel all over. It's just a different beast than when I played. And so just taking some time to get used to that. And I wish kids played more sports instead of just focusing on one. We have a lot of guys who just play baseball. But we do have a handful of guys who play football and basketball and do other sports as well. And I think that just helps them not get injured as often and just be more competitive and just learn how to be competitors and learn how to win and things like that.
Well, the more sports you play, the more you're going to learn, the more adversity you're going to face, that you're going to work different muscles. And I saw that even when I was coaching, we talked to the college coaches of hey, what do you want out of our kids coming up? And they were kind of tired of just the single sport athlete. Go do something else, stay fresh. It's going to fight burnout.
Yep. Well, and I think college coaches look at it as if you've already started focusing just on this one sport from an early age, how much more can I improve you? Mm-hmm. Where if in high school you played 2 or 3 sports, when I get you in college and I have you all year long, I can make leaps and bounds with you still. There's still room for
You're more
growth.
versatile as a player. Yeah. Oh, that's cool. Never thought of that.
In a lot of sports, you're going to have stuff that's going to tie over too. Even if it's simple, quick stuff. I think like baseball and basketball, like on the surface might not have a lot in common, but you still need quick feet. Yeah. You still got to read a bounce. I mean, lacrosse and soccer go together pretty good. Football and track, that was what our guys always did in high school. Like, please play more than one.
Yeah. So is baseball your favorite sport then?
Absolutely. Okay. It always was. It was probably, so I played soccer and basketball and wrestling. I did growing up, I did a lot of sports. Mm-hmm. My dad coached wrestling and never wanted me to wrestle. He played football, didn't want me to play football, so I played soccer. Soccer was probably my best sport, but I didn't like it because my 2 older brothers played it. Oh. And so I wanted to go a different route, and they both wrestled, so I played basketball, focused on baseball. It was not the easiest sport for me, but it was the one I worked the hardest at. And so it's the one there's so much to baseball. I know a lot of people think it's boring. My wife won. She does not like watching baseball, but I see a lot of other stuff going on, and I really enjoy it.
I did hear a funny story about you at a baseball game this year that resulted in you going to see Mickey down Disney World. I can't remember because it was August when Steph told me about it, but what happened?
So my kids have been begging to go back on a vacation. We were going to Florida anyway in the summer. And they're like, well, let's just stop by Disney on the way. And I'm like, that's not like just
stop by Disney. That's awesome.
And so it was Seth's, Christian Encarnacio Strand's first, it was his second game. And so he was down, no balls, 2 strikes. And I said, fine, if he hits a home run, we'll go. And next pitch, home run.
So how was Disney World?
Disney World. It was actually one of our best trips. It was great. We've been there quite a few times. We just went down there for a day and hit Hollywood Studios, and then continued on to our next destination. So it was a lot of fun. Wow. It was a good trip. Good trip.
That's so
good memory. It was a great memory, but I do feel like I was robbed of a lot of money.
Oh my God, for sure. That's so
not a very good personal finance decision.
Betting on a baseball player with your high school kids?
Yes.
Yeah, no, weird.
That's why I don't make bets with any of our high schoolers, because they'll always somehow win. And I'm like, please don't make that. What do? They like take the wadded up paper and they're like, if I make this, no homework. And I'm like, if you make it, you could still do your homework. And they're like, what? Mid-throw. And I'm like, yeah, I don't make that bet. No. That's funny.
No way.
My goodness.
Yeah. No, I heard about that when we got back in August, and I was like, that's a classic.
Yes.
An absolute classic.
So I kind of want to just switch gears a little bit and kind of go back to your roots.
Okay.
Where did you go to, like, did you grow up around here? Or?
Close by, I went to Loveland.
Oh, wow, yeah.
Growing up in Loveland, like we'd play Little Miami in sports, and as a kid, I thought it was like 45 minutes away. And I'm like, this is so far away from us. But yeah, I grew up in Loveland and went there all through school.
So what kind of a student were you?
I was a honor student. Mm-hmm. I was I was actually my senior superlative, believe it or not, I was a teacher's pet. Yes, I was.
I don't see that at all.
Yes. So I was a really good student. Math was probably my favorite subject. I actually wish my counselors back then would have talked to me more about, like, I loved math, but I hated like chemistry. And so I thought I would hate all science, but I think I would have done really, like, all of the aptitude tests I've taken as an adult said I was more geared towards engineering. And I wish I would have been pushed that direction a little bit. But so I went the accounting route and the numbers, but I was a pretty good student.
That's awesome. Cool.
Yeah.
Good. And you're a good teacher. So it translates, right?
I try.
So growing up in this district, or not growing up, but like growing up in this area, having your children in here, how is it having your kids in the school? I know that, like, with your wife, it's awesome.
Yeah.
Is it different with your kids?
So Taylor, my oldest, it was fine. She would come up and talk to us in the hallway and had no problem stopping by our classroom. And the only thing she didn't want us to ever go chaperone any of the dances.
Oh, fair.
She wanted us away from that.
Yeah.
Although Mrs. Like vetoed her last year, and we did chaperone prom. We just stayed out in the hall.
Yeah, there you go.
And so she didn't have a problem with it. My youngest one is a little more quiet, more reserved, and wants nothing to do with us. And if she sees us, she's like, doesn't acknowledge that we're alive. So, but it's fine. We don't micromanage. Thankfully, they're both really good students, and we never had any problems disciplinary that we have to worry about. So we've been pretty lucky as parents.
That's amazing.
My first year, first semester, I had Taylor in class. And I was having lunch with this guy every day, and it wasn't for 3 months that I realized. Okay. I was that just in the weeds trying to get through my first year that I had no idea.
Same for both of your children. I didn't even put 2 and 2 together, which is funny because they look exactly like you guys, and I was just like, I never put it.
Hopefully more like my wife, less like me.
Well, I have Jordan now in the block program, too, and I told her this morning that, hey, Pops is coming on the podcast. Anything I should ask him about? And I kind of got the wide-eyed, nope response. Didn't even want to touch it. Didn't even want to get involved.
Yes.
But I figured you have enough interesting stuff going on that we probably have content. But I don't know. I just figured I'd put it out there.
In addition to her, I have 3 nephews and a niece here as well.
Oh my God.
Yes.
What?
Yeah.
It's just it's a family tree in this.
And more coming.
Oh my gosh. Oh, that's the crazy part.
Yeah.
Just seeing the time change and I've only been here 5 years and even then I'm they're like, oh, do you know so-and-so and so-and-so? And I'm like, yeah. And they're like, they're my brother, they're my sister. And then I'm like, oh God, I'm just waiting for them to be like, they're my mom, they're my dad. And me be like, oh my God, now I'm older. Love you guys. It's so great.
It's crazy though with the district growing like it is. Every day I walk in the hallway, I'm like, I've never seen that student before.
Yeah.
And even now with I used to know every single teacher's name, and now I'm like, are they a teacher here? I don't know who that is. What do they teach?
Yeah.
I had to cover for a class the other day, and I'm asking teachers who is this? Where are they? And we're just getting so much larger.
Yeah.
When I came in 2004.
Right.
I mean, even the last 4 years, we've added. Not even just replacing teachers. We've added, 7? 7 maybe new positions, from scratch.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, that's kind of crazy.
Every class is the size of 35 kids or more.
Yeah, we're fielding football teams.
Yeah, literally.
Yeah, I mean, the growth is crazy. I mean, I'm sure you living in the district as well, you see that up close a little bit more than we do living, kind of outside this realm. But is it slowing down?
Oh, no. It slowed down, I think, when we were in fiscal emergency in the years following. But I think it's picking up and going faster than it was 10 years ago. Wow. I think. I don't know. We'll see.
I mean, I'm sure if we dig in, we can find the numbers. But no, I mean, more and more coming in, which is a good problem to have.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Goodness.
So what's the future look like for personal finance with that becoming a state requirement? Is obviously it's going to change your day-to-day a little bit, but I'm guessing you're excited about it.
So, yeah, absolutely. So 2 years ago, the state passed legislature to mandate that all students take personal finance before they graduate. And so we've decided as a district that it'll be their junior year. So it's this year's sophomore class that has to have it to graduate.
Wow.
And so when they're juniors, so next year,
they have to take it.
They have to take it.
Nice.
And so it should be, I mean, based on our class numbers, I'd imagine it's 6 periods a day, 5 periods a day, all year long, similar to economics and government. I think it'll be opposite government. I think the junior year they take government, senior year is economics. And so it'll be a required course. So I'm super excited. I think personal finance is probably the most important class that you can take.
Yeah.
Even if you don't really grasp it when you're in high school because it doesn't seem applicable when you get down the road and you're like, oh, I have to get insurance on my own now. I'm 26 years old. What do I need to know about that? I have to do, I'm looking at getting a house or a new car or whatever, paying back my student loans. And those are all topics that we'll cover. And
I love that.
It's super important for them to just have a basic understanding.
Yeah.
I mean, I've seen a lot of the memes that go around of wait, you don't know how to do taxes, you don't know how to do this. And the response is, well, the mitochondria is the powerhouse of the cell. And that's what I remember from high school.
Yes.
It wasn't a requirement when I was growing up and where I was growing up. So I think it's cool that we're working that in. If for those that don't know, what all is included in that? Obviously, I think we can spitball of what personal finance is being quote adults, but like what's covered in the curriculum?
Course?
So we do a unit on just general banking, like what is offered at a bank, what are all the products you can get, why it's important to be involved. We do credit, so anytime like credit cards, loans, mortgages, anything like that, and then how to manage that credit, like what's the best way to pay off your credit cards if you get into debt, and interest rates and all of that fun stuff that goes along with it. What are the terms you need to look for? We do a unit on paying for college. Like if you're going to go to college, what are some important things that you need to consider? How do you go to college debt free? And there are opportunities.
I'm listening.
We talk about scholarships and how to apply for them, and it's having a kid go through it. It is very difficult. It could be like a full-time job, because you could apply for 100 scholarships and you might, if you're lucky, get one. But just keep applying and things like that. We'll talk about taxes here shortly. And that's always important. We do investing. That's probably our longest unit, but I tell the kids that we could spend an entire year on that and not even cover everything. So I just try to give them the basics. And of course, they all want to talk about cryptocurrency and day trading and all of that. And I'm like, well, let's just understand the basics of index funds and things like that. We talk about different jobs and careers, like for those that don't want to go to college, and the opportunities that are available, and how you can be super financially successful going straight into the workforce. Absolutely. And the cost benefit of, I'm not going to spend $200,000 on a college, and I'm going to make $200,000 my first 4 years as a plumber or whatever. So we talk a lot about that. And then we look at insurance and all the things that go with that, and the pitfalls and identity theft and all of that. Just try to cover it all. Yeah.
Life. Literally, it just sounds like a class on life, not just personal finance. I mean, that is so important. It's kind of funny you're saying all these things, because I'm currently going through all this. I was like, last year I was like, all right, I'm off the insurance. What do I do? Like looking at all the options. And then I had just bought my house the previous year, and I was like, 2 years ago when the interest rates were like heckin' low. And now I just bought a car when the interest rates are really high. So, I mean, there's so many things that I guess you don't think about when you're a teen, because all of your energy goes into like prom or the sports or the different features like that. So like prepping for actual life is, I mean, it's
kind of what we're actually here for. I know we lose sight of that sometimes when we, go down a rabbit hole in pre-calc or chemistry or something. But like as educators, we're trying to get them ready for the world.
Right.
Yeah, we talk about, I try to make it as relevant as possible. Like talking about saving and budgeting. Like we talked about, like throw prom in there. How much is it? Like, did you know the average across the prom is $1,000 a person?
No.
Like that's the average what people spend right now.
By the time you dump everything in, I can see that.
Yeah. Dresses, flowers, tickets, transportation, promposals that they all go crazy about, all of that is $1,000.
I mean, we were wedding planning, and I mean, this was years ago at this point, but I mean, the average cost of a wedding was $35,000.
Oh my God.
Yeah. And that's only going up. Last time I looked, it was about double.
And elope.
Done.
So
did it.
I am doing wedding planning now, and I mean, I want to vomit every time we are looking at finances. I mean, we're good, which is awesome, and we were able to do what we want to do. But I was like, actually having to not invite people kills me, because I love all these people in my life. But I'm like, we're not as close as this and we're not as close as that, because we literally have to condense, because I'm like, we're paying for these people to enjoy an experience. And like, it's a lot of money on top of our actual bills. And anyway,
just save that money and have a big cookout in the summer.
Right.
Just go get married at the Justice of the Peace and you'll be fine.
Yeah, we did it. We did it in Kayla's parents' backyard. We ended up having a big party later. I mean, we kept the elope kind of quiet, but man, financially it made more sense. I mean, our wedding was still pricey, but like when I compare it to other ones that I've talked to and even been to and been in, goodness gracious, we got out there with a steal.
I tried to elope. I lost that battle. As I tend to do.
Really, the financial guy lost the battle of spending that kind of money.
Yes.
I'm sure it was a good wedding, though, yeah?
It was a great wedding. It was fantastic.
Oh, that's sweet.
Yeah.
Did you get married around here?
In Wilmington.
Oh, wow.
We got married in Wilmington, and then we had our reception up at, the Roberts Center? Right there up off of 71.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, my gosh. That's so funny. Yeah. It's that small town vibe. My goodness.
I think that pretty much hits all the big stuff that we wanted to make sure we talked to you about. As I imagine you're still a little recovering from hanging on the duct tape on the wall for however long that was.
Lunch.
Oh no!
I'm gonna go eat.
Yeah, definitely go get some lunch.
Yes.
Get prepped for another adventurous week in the world of personal finance internship. But we appreciate you taking some time and coming to chat with us. As always, it's a pleasure.
Thank you.
I know you stop by all the time anyway.
And this time goes quick for anybody who wants to get in.